Welcome to my impromptu car blog of inspiration. So as the title says of this particular video, about 2% of the population, just 1 out of every 50 people is wild and free. Or maybe it doesn't have to be wild, maybe just free. That's up to you if you want to be wild and free or whatever and free. And about 98% of the population, about 49 out of every 50 people, is a slave, controlled and manipulated through the dependency of money, or you can't pay your bills and eat. And so based on very objective measurements, here's my observation. And I've always had this, so maybe this will make some sense. Feel free to share this if you wish. This is going to be a pretty cool video. I'm not generally into statistics, but once in a while some of them really grab me and catch my attention, and then I have to share them with you. So about 1 out of every 49 people is going to be both a starter and a finisher. Of the 98%, that is living and will eventually die a slave, controlled and manipulated by the dollar, or they can't pay their bills and eat. A good number of them will be a starter at least one point in their life, but very few of them will be both a starter and a finisher. Most people are starter and quitter, or non-starters. So it's a mix of non-starters and starters, but quitters. And only 2% is going to be both a starter and a finisher, someone who sees it through. So about 1 out of every 50 people does not depend on a company to take care of them. They don't depend on the government or friends and family. They're independent, self-sufficient people that can take care of themselves. 49 out of 50, every 50 people, 49 out of 50, 98% of the population depends on some company to take care of them, their retirement, friends and family, maybe the government and various subsidies, or they can't pay bills and eat. It's just the way that it is. That's the way that it is right now. And there's always that pattern, that discernment, that critical nuance that separates these people between the 2 and 98%. And this does not go towards the quality of anybody's character, so don't go there with your thoughts, okay? This is just a mechanical thing. Mechanically speaking, there's only about 2% of the population that's going to start that journey of eminently becoming a free person and finishing and seeing it through so that they can be that free person. And 98%, like I said, they're just not going to do it. Most of them won't even get started, and of the ones that get started, most of those people will not see it through. So all you have to do is mechanically make that decision in your brain, and then mechanically follow through with that decision. A decision is very easy to make, but to have it coupled with that commitment that you're going to do it no matter what it takes, that's a different thing. Because the people that get started that are not finishers, the ones that get started and quit, the starters and quitters, they're going through whatever happens, the going gets tough, and they quit. And what happens to somebody happens to us all in different variations. So it's never what happens to us, it's how we respond to what happens to us. You could have the same set of circumstances that happens to somebody else, and maybe that somebody else has it worse than how you got it. Like, just factually speaking, they have it worse. But they decide, I'm going to double down on the learning curve, the figuring it out, the whatever it is that when the going gets tough, I'm going to double down. The starters and quitters will say, when the going gets tough, I'm going to have perfect rationale to give myself so I can make it easier to live with myself for being a quitter. And that's the difference. So whatever is happening to you, whatever is circumstantial in your life, really has nothing to do with if you're going to be a starter and somebody who finishes something and sees it through. Period. Especially when it comes to something like owning your life. You can own your time, so you can own your life, being free, financially free, so you don't have to depend on some company to take care of you and possibly your retirement. You don't have to come to this place where you depend on friends and family and the federal government as the main source of your income. Here's another stat, one of very few stats that really grabs me. 98% of the population, that same percentile, approximately 98% of the population is either dead before the age of 65 or dead broke, dependent on friends, family, and the federal government as the main source of their income, or some company to take care of them. So That's up to you, my friend. I just want you to know, in case you were thinking it's your circumstances keeping you back, no, it's not. And for some of you, maybe you just need to hear that to realize, I think Tom might be onto something. By some very crystal clear objective measurements, my circumstances have nothing to do with where I'm at. This is just my starting point. And my finishing point doesn't have anything to do with my starting point. I just got to know where I want to go and know that when the going gets tough, first, you got to get started, make that decision. And then when the going gets tough, you got to make this decision too, because the going at various points in your life, it's going to get tough in the form of who knows what that's going to look like. It's a mystery. We don't really know. We just know you're going to have hard moments. So when the going gets tough, make that decision ahead of time that you're going to double down and figure it out no matter what. That's what I did. That's how I became this wild and free person. And I bought my house in cash. I don't even have a mortgage because I bought my house in cash. And I did that when I was only 32 years old. And I'm in consumer debt to absolutely nobody, and I don't have a boss. If I wanted a job, it would be optional. That's the key thing, because there's always going to be somebody that misses the whole message of all of this and says, but I love my job, it fulfills me and gives me what I need. That's totally groovy, but when it's not a choice, that's not cool. That's enslavement. You're controlled and manipulated. Even if you love your job, you're controlled and manipulated by the dollar, or you can't pay your bills and eat. That is not cool. So if you love your job so much, then why don't you become independent so that you can just do your job because you love it, instead of also being codependent and needy on that paycheck. And then you can be a wild and free, or whatever and free, fill in the blank and free, human being that you've always wanted to be. So you can be free to love your job without needing your job for the paycheck. Try that on for size. When it's optional, that's cool. I took the option of firing my boss, and I love that concept so much for me that I have fireyourboss.xyz. Not .com, don't go there. Mine is .xyz, fireyourboss.xyz if you want to visit that. And then my name, I also bought my own name website, tombirkenmeyer.com. That one's a .com. Spelled just like it is here on social media. Take out the space, tombirkenmeyer.com. And visit that if you'd like, and you can see all kinds of stuff I got thousands of pieces of content, all to do with health, healing, organics, happiness, wherever I can. Sometimes that's a struggle. I'm human, big time. Financial freedom and firing your boss, or make your boss optional, or whatever you want that can help you get to where you want to go. But first, you got to make that decision to be a starter, and secondly, you got to make that decision with a commitment. Don't confuse a decision for a preference. A decision automatically comes with a commitment that you're going to double down when the going gets tough and be a finisher in addition to the starter. And then that'll separate you from 98% of the population, not based on the quality of your character, but just mechanically speaking, and if you're going to be a free human being, or if you're going to live and die a slave and controlled and manipulated by money like 98% of the population. So that's your decision. And I made my decision, and I was a starter and I was a finisher. So there you have it. And if you're interested in seeing what I do to make this happen, what I do is all around health and fitness and organics and natural healing. And if you're interested in learning how to make money and becoming a free human being and truly independent based on that concept of health, healing, and organics, then just Facebook private message me or connect with me somehow, and I'll show you what I'm up to. And if you see it as something that you'd be really excited to do, then we can do it together, and you can be part of this wonderful team that I've been putting together for the last 10 years now, which, by the way, 10 years is a pretty good indication that I'm rock solid. I actually had somebody join me pretty recently just based on that one reason alone. They've been friends with me since forever ago and saw that I'm like rock solid. A starter and a finisher. They were looking at a bunch of other people who were starters and quitters, and then they saw me a starter and a finisher, and it's like, yeah, that Tom Birkenmeyer, that's the dude. So yeah, that's a pretty cool thing. I can say that now. It's been a decade as of 2017, October 3rd, at the time of this video anyway. So I'll hear from some of you very soon, and feel free to share this and put this messaging out there for your friends, family, whoever you think would enjoy hearing this concept about being a starter and a finisher versus being a non-starter, or being a starter and a quitter. Something that separates 98% from the 2 percentile of the population who's going to be wild and free versus the masses, the majority, who lives and dies under control and manipulation of money dependency, or they can't pay bills and eat. It's something people should know about, okay? It's good to just know so you can decide what you want to do. Bye for now, and I'll see you soon.